Hey everybody, today we are going to do a mountain scene created on NARA paper. Now this mountain scene was created on a white ceramic tile, which you can also use. You can buy them at Home Depot or just about anywhere. This is a 6 by 6 inch white ceramic tile, which I inserted into this lovely frame. So this is NARA paper. NARA is a synthetic art paper you can use for alcohol ink, watercolor, acrylic, and it's synthetic and it's non-porous. You can buy it at Amazon, and you can also go right to narasyntheticpaper.com and order it. Really nice paper. So we start out with a sketch of a mountain scene, and you can use any kind of reference photo you want. I just kind of did this out of my head. I love mountains and lived in Alaska and love the mountains up there. So I sketched it out. The supplies you'll need are at least 4 different kinds of alcohol inks, and I picked Stream, which I'll use for the water. Sapphire Blue, I will use for the mountains. Caramel, I'll use for the rocks and a little bit in the background. And Bottle, and these are all by Ranger, and also you can get them at Amazon or your local art supply. Then I'm going to use alcohol blending solution, and I'm going to mix this with a little bit of the ink when I do the sky and the water. I use this instead of the 91 or 99% isopropyl alcohol because it is diluted just a little bit. It's got ethanol, glycol ethers, and isopropanol, and it's not quite as strong as pure alcohol. I will use 91 to 99% alcohol to clean my brushes, clean my hands, and that's about all I use it for. Maybe I'll clean my plastic dishes. You'll also need a little plastic paint dish to mix your paint. I cleaned out a few of them with my alcohol, but some of them I just kept the ink in there because I'm going to be using greens and stream, and you can dilute the ink with the blending solution and reactivate it. I also have a couple of inexpensive paintbrushes, nothing special. I cleaned these with my pure alcohol as well. And then I have prismacolor alcohol ink markers, and I have dark green, and then I've got canary yellow for the trees. Also, you can get this colorless blender, which is actually filled with the blending solution, and this is what we will use to remove some of the ink from the mountains to give kind of a snowy effect. I also have a Q-tip, which I'm going to show you how to make clouds. And last but not least, I got a micron archival ink pen, black 03, and this will be used to make some of the evergreen trees. Alright, so let's get started. I am going to start with a little bit thicker of a brush, the blending solution, and I am going to, actually, I'm going to add a blue. I'm going to add sailboat blue for the sky. Alright, so we've got 5 inks, and they're 5 different separate colors. This is a Ranger ink, so this is the one we'll use for the sky. I'm going to use a little blending solution, just a couple little drops, and then the blue. So here we go. Kind of squirt this out comes out kind of fast, and I put a few little strips of the blending solution and now a little bit of the sailboat blue. And you work fast because alcohol inks dries very fast. Go around the mountains, and it's still nice and wet. Also, make sure you have good ventilation in your ceiling, a good fan going, because alcohol inks are kind of strong to breathe. So keep that in mind. All right, I'm going to stop right there because I like the way that looks. Kind of even have a little cloud there. And it kind of moves as it dries. I think I had a little bit of red on my paintbrush, but I like the way that looks in there. Now I want to make some clouds, so what I'm going to do, I'm just going to drip a few drops of the blending solution onto my Q-tip and just dab away some of the ink. You can also use a cotton ball to do this. Just keep on dabbing to the effect that you like. Maybe go down into the behind the mountains here. And I'm just going to leave that up there. I like the way that looks. Add a little bit more blending solution. And I'm just going to leave that red. I like that. All right, got my sky. The next thing we're going to do is we are going to use this sapphire blue, which is a real dark blue. And I'm going to add it into my little dish here. Not too much. Very rich blue. And I'm going to grab, I can use the same paintbrush because it has some blue on it. All right. I'm going to load it up with the ink. Create the mountains. And again, this does dry very fast. Kind of have to move quickly with alcohol inks. All right, I like the way that looks. Now, if you want to lighten that back mountain, just add a little blending solution onto your paintbrush. And blend. I just added a few drops. Look at that. Gorgeous. And I'm over here on the side, I'm dabbing, drying my brush just a little bit on the paper towel because I don't want it too thick with the blending solution because then it'll start really moving up into the sky. So you need to control it. I still have some very thinned ink with blending solution in my dish, and I'm just going to lighten this up a little bit. Because we are going to have some evergreen trees coming up into the front of the mountains. So I don't want the mountains too dark. All right. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to work on the water. And with the water, I'm going to use stream. I love stream. It's kind of a greenish blue. And I'm going to mix it right into this other green that I had here. And again, I'm going to use the blending solution so I can thin it. I also am using a new paintbrush. So a couple lines, and then here comes the ink. Look at that color. You can add a little more blending solution if you like, thin it out. You can blow it, make some waves, and look at that. And I'm just gonna stop because I like the way it looks. I think that's pretty. Now, we're gonna add a little bit of brown down here on the bottom for the sandy shore. Brown, whatever color brown you want. I've got a caramel brown here. So just a little bit. The brown, and I am not going to mix any blending solution because I want it kind of thicker. I don't want it so diluted. So I've got a little paintbrush. Basically, just put a line. Try not to quite hit the edge of the paint here, because then it'll start blending together. If you can, carefully get close to it, that's okay. I'm going to actually touch it and show you what happens. Just kind of, you may like that, kind of mixes together, a little blend. All right, so I like that. Maybe you want to make some little rock shapes. The next thing we're going to do is we are going to make little white snow on the mountain. We have a thin tip to this blending solution eraser pen, and then we have a thicker tip, which I like to use the thicker tip. And I'm just going to remove just a little bit of the color, and I'm wiping it on the paper so that it's not completely filled with blue. Just a little, not much. Happy mountains, as Bob Ross may say. Maybe a little bit on the other mountain, not much. And you can go on and add more detail if you like. But I think for this video, we will stop right about here and start working on the pine trees, evergreen trees, whatever kind of tree you want to call it. The way that I'm going to do this is I am going to take my micron black pen. You can also use a thin Sharpie. And I am going to draw some lines here. Just kind of draw the idea of branches. And we'll add the foliage here in just a minute. Ooh, that water looks good. Now I've got my bottle green. I will add it into my little dish here. And I'm going to clean my brush. I had some kind of old alcohol in here that I was cleaning some brushes, pure alcohol. So I wanted to get this brush clean. Not too clean, it's okay if it's a little green because we are going to do green on the foliage, on the pines. All right, now don't get this too thick filled with ink because it just moves so fast. So I'm kind of dabbing it on the side here. And really, I'm just gonna fill in that white first. Those are the bushes in the background. And I am going to start going up the tree. Does not have to be perfect. Just have some fun with it. All trees are different. Every painting will be different. Make it your own. Maybe add a few more bushes in there. Then we're going to refine it just a little bit with our Prismacolor marker in green and in yellow. We can even use a little bit of that black to add the detail, the black micron. All right, I am happy with that. I'm going to take my Prismacolor pen. I'm going to use the thin side. There's also a thicker side, but I like to use the thin side for the details. Just kind of add some detail. Just a little bit. And you can get these pens in all different colors. You can get 6 different shades of green. Many different shades of blue. They're a lot of fun. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the yellow, small side, and add a few highlights over to the left here. It's like the sun is shining down onto the left side. You want to have some highlights. maybe you want to take your marker eraser and remove some of the green, and you can add highlights that way too. I think I'll use the other end, little brushy tip, because it comes out thicker. See, you've got some nice highlights there. Makes those trees pop a little bit more. And then the last thing I'm going to do is I am going to take the black micron, go back right into the tree, add a few little branches, a little more detail, and then maybe a few rocks. You can just draw those rocks in. Even shade them a little bit. So you can get as detailed as you want. So there we go. Mountain scene with alcohol inks and a blending solution and micron pens. And I sure hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you very much.